Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. This episode will guide you through the issues of the New Mutants published by Marvel Comics in 1983. Issue number 5. Professor Xavier is in a world of hurt. Somehow, ever since his mind was transferred to a newly cloned body, he experiences the pain of his legs being crushed. A pain which he had been suppressing with his mental powers for years. He can't resist but try to use his physically fine legs, but every time he tries to walk without using his powers, he collapses in unbearable pain. Lilandra heard him scream and checks up on him, as he's lying on the floor. They are both confused at what the cause of this problem is, and they wonder if they had overlooked something. Charles realizes that this mental attack he's experiencing has severed his link with his students. Lilandra tells him not to worry and that they will be fine for a few hours without him watching over them. Charles knows that she is right, but he hates feeling so helpless. Speaking of his students, the New Mutants are currently enjoying a fair and Stevie is there with them. They are enjoying food, ice cream and some of the games, and Roberto and Danielle are going on a trip on an airplane. They see a couple of the bikers, members of a crew known as Team America, who are there to give a show. Roberto has been a fan of them ever since he's seen them race back in Brazil. He's surprised to see them here, however, since the crew supposedly retired months ago. He walks over to them asking for autographs, but one of the guys, nicknamed Wolf, is quite rude to him. Nor is he being friendly to one of the other guys. As Roberto and Rain agree to not liking the guy, Stevie tells him that the show is about to start. All of them are being watched by someone who mentions that it's only half of the team and she had hoped for more. She also says that the mission will proceed as planned and she wants the targets alive. The show starts and the New Mutants are watching in awe as Team America performs all kinds of stunts. For the final part of the show, they will be racing against one another in a 50 laps race. They start revving up their engines and as they start racing, suddenly there's an explosion. As Team America has blown off their motorcycles, a squad of armed goons show up. They are after Team America and they will gun down anyone that intervenes. Stevie is trying to hail Xavier mentally, but there's no response. The crowd starts to panic and Sam is about to do something about the raid. Sean tells him not to because of the danger of getting recognized by the people in the audience, but Sam convinces her to let him do his job. He manages to knock out most of the attackers. Team America is able to gather their bearings and they attack some of the other attackers. Karma possesses one of the attackers and uses his weapon to attack the others. As the one being possessed gets taken down himself, the link between him and Sean is severed, which leaves her dizzy and vulnerable. A missile gets fired and Sean is only barely saved by Stevie, who jumps towards her and pushes her on the ground. Once again, Stevie, simply a dancing class teacher, finds herself smack dab in the middle of a battlefield. Rain and Roberto both use their powers to attack more of the goons, and Team America helps them out. The lady who was observing them earlier is now joined by a warrior-looking figure, and they talk about what their aim was in attacking Team America. They were trying to lure out the Dark Rider, who Team America seems to have some kind of bond with, and not this band of superpowered teens. She orders the warrior, whom she addresses with the name Murata, to take whatever steps necessary to defeat these kids. The first one he approaches are Sean and Stevie, and he introduces himself as the Silver Samurai. He tells them to stand aside so they won't be harmed, but Sean tries to possess him instead. She's still weakened from the severed bond earlier and is not able to possess the resisting Silver Samurai. He whacks her in the neck and Cannonball sees this happening, and he attacks the Silver Samurai instead. But he too gets whacked and smashes into some of the debris lying around. The Team America member Wolf picks up one of the guns lying around and tells the samurai to freeze or he will fire. He then hesitates, remembering an earlier battle in which he killed someone, and the Silver Samurai attacks him instead. Then, suddenly out of nowhere, the Dark Rider shows up. He heads straight for the samurai, who draws his energy sword and takes up a position, but steps aside just in time and slashes the bike's front wheel straight off. The Dark Rider is able to land safely, but the Silver Samurai isn't done yet. He throws shuriken at them and they wreck the engine and the rear wheel, resulting in the Dark Rider crashing. The samurai, surprised at the Dark Rider still being alive, approaches him only to find out that it's not a him at all, but a her. It's actually Danielle Moonstar, one of the New Mutants. He wants to teach his kids a lesson, but he obeys Viper's order and picks up Danielle, which is seen by Sunspot, and he starts attacking the samurai. He jumps at them, but the samurai teleports out of there and Roberto ends up on the ground. Close by, Cannonball's getting up from his crash landing and starts to get annoyed with himself for not having more control over his movements when using his powers. He sees Stevie holding Sean's unconscious body and asks whether she's doing alright. Stevie can't really tell. She tells Sam that she can see Rain and Roberto, but she can't seem to locate Danielle. They wonder and worry about where she is. Somewhere else, at a later time, Psyche has woken up in a strange surrounding and is dark. She has no recollection of what had happened to her up until the moment she did wake up in the strange outfit. The lights turn on and she sees a motorcycle standing in the room. She sees and hears objects rolling towards her, as a female voice tells her that this is a test. She either escapes or she dies, and her only way out is by using the motorcycle. Strangely, though she had just been riding a bike a short while ago, she has no idea how to use one now. She fails the test and the bike gets crushed. She figures that she's as good as dead now, but she gets picked up by the Silver Samurai, who tells her to follow him. She does so, and while they walk up on the staircase, she wonders if the warrior knows she's a mutant, and she figures that she could outrun him, especially if she used her abilities. She also figures that she'd best stay a bit more patient before she makes her move, so she can get a better idea of exactly where she is. Danielle gets presented before Viper, who asks for her name. Viper tells her that she was able to handle a bike on the fairgrounds like an expert, and Danielle cannot believe what she's saying. Nor does she remember her appearance as a Dark Rider, and since she doesn't, she also tells Viper that she has no connection to Team America. Danielle's getting angry because of these suggested questions and doesn't know what had happened herself. This results in Danielle losing control over her mutant powers, and she starts pulling images from Viper's mind. Images of her while running through the ruins of her war-torn European homeland. Viper smacks Danielle and points a gun at her, telling her that she will make her pay for this. Back at Xavier's mansion, the professor is still not able to make a psychic link with Danielle, which must mean that she's either far away or being shielded off, or both. Lilandra asks him if she could be dead, but Charles says that he would have stands the trauma no matter what. Roberto in the meantime is getting annoyed and restless. The professor, Lilandra and the kids have been joined by Michael Rossi, who has provided Xavier with some computer files regarding the team's encounter in the afternoon. From their descriptions he figured that they had a run-in with Kaneyucho Harada, the Silver Samurai, and the former Madame Hydra, now known as the Viper. He also tells them about the Dark Rider and what's known about him. Xavier says that all these things have no connection to Danielle. Sam then asks why Danny would be pretending to be the Dark Rider, and Xavier has his suspicions. He then activates Cerebro and uses his powers in conjunction with the device. This is being observed by everyone present, and it's an amazing sight for them all. Stevie wonders how anyone can wield powers like this and not get corrupted. After a short while, Xavier has found the solution, and it's an obvious one. In Washington DC, the Viper and the Silver Samurai wake up Mr. McDonald from his sleep. They are here to make him an offer he cannot refuse. He is to gather the rest of the Team America members to break into a place in Mexico to steal a certain object for Viper, and if he doesn't comply, she will kill Danielle. Viper has already summoned the rest of the team and she wants to hear their decision at dawn, at which time they will have 24 more hours to complete the task. The other members arrive, and McDonald, also known as Hanjo, tells them what Viper had told him. The three members who were at the fair in New York tell him what had happened there, and Wolf says that he couldn't see if it was actually Danielle that was captured when the samurai picked up the body of the dog rider. And he says he doesn't really care much either. He tells Hanjo that he's being played for a fool and that Viper has no hostage. McDonald himself isn't even convinced that the girl Danielle will be let go if they have successfully completed the task. There's a knock on the door and they turn off the lights and draw their guns as they expect it will be Viper. But it's not, it's Xavier. And he's telling them that there's no need for guns as he is here to help them. He brought the New Mutants and Wolf recognizes them and tells Xavier to get them out of here. At this point Roberto gets really annoyed with Wolf, and Xavier tells Roberto to control himself. Wolf forces it on more by telling Roberto to do what Xavier tells him, or that he will take him over his knee. McDonald, as the leader of Team America, tells Wolf to cool it, because he's acting as childish as Roberto is. He tells the rest of Team America who and what Xavier is, and Xavier reveals that he himself and the kids are mutants. And they, the members of Team America, are too apparently. Xavier tells them that Team America is a projecting gestalt, a terminology for the phenomenon that happens when the group is confronted by extreme danger. Every member of Team America has the ability to summon the Dark Rider, which is a projection of their combined attributes. This projection then possesses a host body, such as what happened with Danielle this afternoon. Wolf is being his annoying self again, and this enrages Sunspot to the point where he uses his powers to pick up Wolf and slams and holds him against the wall, telling him their friend may die. Xavier tells them that Danny's current situation is their responsibility, and that because they have no control over their powers, they are a threat to everyone around them. They will have to quickly learn how to control the powers, and that's why Xavier is here to help them with. Xavier leaves them no choice in the matter. There's a discussion taking place about morality, powers and responsibilities, and Wolf and Roberto have another macho standoff. Because of the friction between Roberto and Wolf, Xavier decides for the New Mutants to lay low for the time being. A decision which Sam does not understand because Danny is their teammate. Sean explains why Xavier made the decision he made, and Roberto comes to the conclusion that his childhood hero, Wolf, is not deserving of this admiration at all. Xavier informs the kids of his plan telepathically, which rubs Roberto the wrong way because they decided to stay at Xavier's school and now Danny's life is at stake. Xavier explains to them that Team America's lack of control over the powers is priority now, and if they're being successful in saving Danielle, but still run into trouble, at least it will have bought them some time to summon the X-Men team, to deal with Viper in the proper manner. Roberto still feels as if their lives mean little to Xavier. Sean understands what Xavier is trying to do, what he thinks is best, and stands up for him. But she also tells her team that they should make their own decisions regarding doing what they feel is best. She says that they will try and save Danielle on their own, with or without Xavier's aid. Xavier admires the guts and willingness to dive headlong into danger to try and rescue their friend and teammate. He has already seen 2 of his students die, and he was hoping to be able to prevent the New Mutants from getting into situations like these. He hopes that if any life will have to be sacrificed, it will be his own. Thanks for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already, because that will help me out a lot in growing this channel and being able to produce more videos like this one. See you next episode.